It's Alma.
Okay, I will send it right now. My apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Piston.
My pleasure.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name, please?
It's Enrique Gonzalez.
All right, sir. It looks like we're seeing you on a warrant that was issued out of Tucson City Court relating to, let's see, charges involving allegations of disorderly conduct. So, sir, what I'm going to do is your next court date is going to be November 4th, 2024 at 2 in the afternoon. If I release you, will you make that court date, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you need to take care of this. This is not going to go away. So I'm going to
Okay.
go ahead and release you on your promise to appear. You're not to have any contact with any of the alleged victims or their residences or the incident location. And once again, your next court date is going to be 11/4/24 at 2 in the afternoon. That's going to be in Tucson City Court, and you will get paperwork with this information.
Okay.
That's all for tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Yes, it's Shayleanne Miles.
All right, ma'am. It looks like you are here this evening regarding a warrant that was issued out of Tucson City Court. I do see that you also have some other cases in Tucson City Court that are already set for a hearing on November 4th, 2024 at 2 in the afternoon. Ma'am, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear, and I'm going to give you a court date that matches the court date you already have. So it'll be that 11/4/24 date at 2 p.m. in Tucson City Court. That's going to be with Judge Million. So on this case, in addition to being released, you are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to have any contact with any listed victims or any incident locations. And you will get paperwork with all of this information. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all for tonight. You're excused, ma'am.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Have a good night.
Your Honor, just to give you a heads up, I'm getting a lot of bounce back emails. It looks like the quantity of these recommendations was a bit more than usual, so it's coming back and hitting people's too big a file filter. It is in the cloud for everybody to get.
Understood. Thank you. Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Olivia Rodriguez.
All right, Ms. Rodriguez, it looks like you're here this evening regarding a case out of Nogales Municipal Court. It looks like a warrant may have issued for a shoplifting charge.
Yes.
Is there a reason that you didn't make your court appearance?
I was under the impression that I could appear telephonically and I never got an email response.
All right, so what I'm gonna do tonight is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. I don't see that you have much in the way of history. You're gonna get paperwork that has contact information for the court in Nogales. My recommendation is that as soon as you can, preferably tomorrow, you contact them and get things set up. But in the meantime, I'm also gonna set a court date down there in Nogales for October 16th at 9 o'clock in the morning. So you
Okay.
need to make that court date. If you don't make that court date, the court could issue another warrant and then we'll be right back here. Understood?
Understood.
All right, just give me 1 second. I'm going to finish up the paperwork here. I'm also going to order that you not have any contact with the incident location. So basically where this is alleged to have occurred.
Okay.
And once again, your court date is going to be October 16th, 2024 at 9 in the morning.
And I will have to appear in person.
That's something you would have to call Nogales to arrange, to see if they can make other accommodations. As of right now, it looks like you have to appear in person, but contact them to see if there's something else you can do.
Okay, yeah, I just don't want to have that miscommunication again.
Understood. So again, their information is going to be on the paperwork.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
That's all for tonight. You're excused.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir. Just give me 1 moment. I'm just getting your paperwork.
Okay.
And do we have somebody from the public defender's office on the line?
Yes, Your Honor. Is this, Lombardo?
No, Thrasher.
So I have
Oh.
Mr. Thrasher next.
Okay.
All right, sir, can I get your full name, please?
John Russell, Thrasher the fourth.
All right, sir, so we have you here this evening. It looks like a warrant was issued for your arrest relating to theft and burglary charges. I do note it looks like you're also in custody on a couple of other felony matters as well. I have received a recommendation from the county attorney recommending a no bond. Mr. Poston, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that?
No, Your Honor.
And Madam Defense Counsel?
Your Honor, I did not see him listed as a felony. I would ask the court to examine whether there is a basis to hold him no bond.
If I may, Your Honor,
You may.
I'm seeing previous case CR 2023-5168, and he appears to be on release for that. And the present charges are CR 2024-3583. And looking at the case, it looks like we have the Berg case in February of this year. And then there was a previous case with a previous date of incident he was on release for, hence the no bond recommendation.
All right, sir, what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to hold you without bond and set a no bond hearing. And that no bond hearing is going to be October 7th, 2024 at 2:30 in the afternoon. Sir, I have to advise you that you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. I am going to appoint the public defender's office, and I note that there is a representative from the public defender sitting there next to you. So again, your no bond hearing is going to be in Pima County Superior Court. That's going to be October 7th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Do you understand, sir?
Yes,
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
I think you. Okay, go. Thank you.
Straight line, Bob. Finish with those. Or yet it's steps.
And Madam Defense Counsel, could I get your name, please?
Yes, Esther Kelly,
Thank you,
Kelly with Y.
thank you, Ms. Kelly. Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks.
All right, sir, good evening. Can I get your full name, please?
Liberado Arrieta.
I think I have that. Yeah. All right, Mr. Arietta, we are seeing you this evening. It looks like you have pending felony charges involving aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and unlawful flight from a law enforcement vehicle. So I have read the probable cause statement. Sir, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. You also have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the legal defender's office to represent you. There is a member from the public defender's office seated there with you if you have any questions during this hearing. Do you understand, sir? All right, I have received the county attorney's recommendation. It looks like the state is requesting a $75,000 bond. Mr. Poston, do you have anything you wanted to add to your recommendation?
Your Honors, they would mention that this isn't his first instance of aggravated assault, prohibited possessor, history of felony flight. This was actually a case that this individual was here a couple of days ago on remarkably similar charges, but I do know it appears to be an adult probation hold as well.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Arietta has lived in Tucson for 6 years and has ties to the community. He is currently employed. Pretrial Services was able to verify that he has housing available with his grandmother, and also at 20 years old, he's relatively young. For all those reasons, I'd ask the court to set the bond at $25,000.
And Your Honor, the state would just like to add that there's allegations that he pulled up to a person that seems to have no prior connection with him and pointed a gun at them in traffic. It just seems rather wanton and rather unprovoked, hence the concern for the state.
All right, sir, what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to hold you on a $75,000 bond that will be cash or secured. If you post bond and are released, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. You will be monitored by pretrial services if you are released and comply with any directives they give you. You are not to have any contact with any alleged victims or return to the incident location. As I mentioned before, I am appointing the legal defender's office to represent you. And your next court date will be a preliminary hearing. That is going to be October 14th, 2024. That's going to be at 1:30 in the afternoon. That date may change, so you need to make sure you stay in contact with your attorney. And if you're released, you also need to stay in contact with pretrial services because they can let you know about any changes. Do you have any questions, sir?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Sure. The district court had a file.
Good evening, sir. Could I get your name?
Stephen Ray Funk.
All right, sir. It looks like you're here this evening on felony charges relating to armed robbery, ag assault with a deadly weapon, couple of counts, first-degree burglary as well. Sir, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. For this evening's hearing, there's a member from the Public Defender's Office, Ms. Kelly, there. If you have any questions, she can assist you. I am going to appoint an attorney to you. His name is Stephen Robertson, and I'll make sure that his phone number is on the paperwork that you're going to get from this evening's hearing. I also see that it looks like you are currently on bond relating to another case. Mr. Poston, I've received your recommendation requesting a no bond hearing. Did you wish to add anything?
Your Honor, the allegations are this individual decided to crawl somehow through the drive-through window of a Wiener Schnitzel and hold up several people at gunpoint for whatever reason he saw fit to do so, allegedly. And this sort of action is absolutely the kind of risk that the community ought not bear. This person should not be held without bond. This person should be held without bond. He was previously on release, and therefore the state moves for no bond.
Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, based on the paperwork, I see the legal basis for a no bond hold. However, he is saying that he does not have a pending felony.
No, I don't have it.
I would ask that a no bond hearing be set.
Can I get 1 second to say something to you without?
Your Honor, just so it's clear, if this wasn't a no bond, I would be asking for $250,000.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
I would like to ask. Ma'am,
Yes, sir.
I have a question. There, what I'm understanding from what you guys are saying is that you said I was on a $25,000 bond, meaning that was bonded out. I was never out of custody.
So, sir, what I'm showing here, it looks like there was a case. It looks like there was a case with an incident date of on or about September 9th, 2024 in Pima County Superior Court. It's CR 2024-3480. Looking at this, it looks like there may have already been a couple of hearings relating to that case prior to
Right.
case we have here. Let me just check.
Right. They said that I was released on a bond and I wasn't.
Oh, no, sir, you haven't been released on bond. You have a bond on that other case, is what I'm showing according to jail records. Jail, are you able to confirm that?
That's correct, Your Honor.
And these pending charges are charges that are being brought upon for what is the reason?
So, sir,
I know that Mr. Neil Posner, he said something. I would like for him to just repeat it, please. I'm not understanding.
all right, sir. So the charges this evening are relating to allegations that you committed armed robbery, aggravated assault with a weapon, but also burglary in the first degree. I believe what Mr. Poston indicated was that it occurred at a Wiener Schnitzel here in town. And so the alleged incident date is from, looks like earlier in September. So, sir, what we're going to do this evening is
Mr. Poston, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm just
Sir?
trying to understand. Mr. Poston said something about what's the evidence in this case about me? I don't understand it.
And sir, tonight's not the night for that. I do not have a lot of information. All I have is a probable cause statement. All I'm doing is determining hearing dates and release conditions. You will have an attorney, sir, let me finish. You will have an attorney appointed to you. That attorney can go over anything about the case with you, but tonight is not the time or place. And I don't want you talking about the case in case you say something that might be used against you. So what I'm going to Sir, what I'm going to do is you're going to have a no bond hearing set October 7th, 2024 at 2:30 in the afternoon. You're also going to have a preliminary hearing set October 14th, 2024 at 2:30. Those are both going to be in Pima County Superior Court. Again, you're going to get paperwork with both dates. Those dates may change. So if you are released for some reason, you need to contact your attorney, stay in contact with them. If you are
What would I be released under?
that's that your attorney in the court will handle on the 7th, and it will be a different judge, sir. So that's all we have for this evening. You're excused.
No bond as well. Vero, Sergio. We go to sit there next there.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your full name?
Sergio Rivero, Jr.
All right, sir. It looks like you are here for a few different matters. So I show that you have a couple of city court cases where it looks like you failed to appear for a hearing. And your city court matters involve charges relating to possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to appear, and shoplifting. And what we're going to do is we're going to work with your city court matters first, and then we're going to move on to your other matters.
Okay.
Just give me 1 second, sir. I'm reviewing your paperwork.
No problem, no problem.
All right, sir. So what I'm going to do on your city court matters, I am going to advise you of a number of rights that you have. You do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You may or may not have the right, you do have the right to an attorney, but that attorney may not, you may not have a right to a court-appointed attorney. You do have a right to have a trial in your matter. It may be a jury trial. It depends on the charges and what you're looking at in city court. If you fail to appear for any of your court hearings, those court hearings can proceed without you. Warrant can issue for your arrest as well.
Okay.
That includes if you fail to appear, if you are convicted, sir, and if you fail to appear at the time of sentencing, you may also, your failure to appear may result in a waiver of your right to appeal any convictions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to enter pleas of not guilty in your 2 city court matters. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office as well. And you are going to have, I'm going to give you a couple of different court dates, sir. I am going to hold you on a $500 cash or secured bond. If you are in custody, you will have a video review hearing on October 11th, 2024, and that will be at 1:45 in the afternoon. If you are able to post bond and you're released from custody, your hearing date will be November 5th, 2024 at 9 in the morning. And I'll give you paperwork with all these dates on it. If you post bond, you are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to go to any of the incident locations. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
And let me just check something here.
Your Honor, the bond amount, was that for the warrant or the citation?
That was for the citation. And it is also going to be for his warrant as well in the city court matter. Thank you, Jail, for asking that question. All right, sir, so now what we're going to do, you also have a hearing, or you also have a case pending out of Nogales Justice Court. And that looks like it involves charges relating to interference with judicial proceedings. What I'm going to do on that case is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. It doesn't mean you're getting out of custody because you have the bond on the 2 city court matters. But your next court date in Nogales Justice Court is going to be October 16th, 2024 at 1 in the afternoon. I will note on your paperwork for Nogales that you have the hold in Tucson City Court. So if you're in custody, they will know how to reach you.
Is there any way I could be released today? Because I don't have a phone number to call somebody because I'm homeless.
I understand, sir. I'm concerned because it looks like you have a few different failures to appear.
But I
So,
will appear. I
so
promise you.
I understand, sir, but it also looks like you may have made that promise before. So what I'm doing this evening, I am holding you on the city court bond. It is a $500 cash or secured. But if you post that, then you can be released from custody. The other,
Because I don't know.
the other, let me finish, sir. The other thing that will happen is you are, in your city court matter, you are having an attorney appointed to you. So talk to your attorney. And if they want to file any appropriate motions with the city court judge, they can do that. But that's not something I'm going to address tonight. So again, with your Nogales case, your hearing is going to be October 16th, 2024 at 1 p.m. And then it looks like you have a few cases out of Pima County Justice Court. So what I'm going to do on your Pima County Justice Court matters, I am also going to release you on your promise to appear. Your court date will be October 16th, 2024 at 1 p.m. Let me just double check something here. So it looks like you would have two different court hearings, both on the 16th. So Nogales is going to be at 9 o'clock, Justice Court is going to be at 1 o'clock. What I'm going to do, just like I am for the Nogales case, is I'm going to note that you've got the hold on the Tucson City Court case so that folks know where you are. If you're released from custody on the city court matter, just make sure you make your court dates and make both of them. And what I'm going to do for your justice court cases, one of your cases charges relating to driving under the influence. So for that case, I am going to appoint you an attorney. I'm going to appoint Douglas Taylor, and your paperwork will include his contact information so you can reach him.
Mhm.
And in your justice court matters, you're not to possess or consume any illegal drugs. And you're not to drive without a valid license. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, sir, so just give me 1 second so I can complete all of your paperwork.
Mm.
All right, so that DUI charge, that is the case we talked about just a moment ago where I appointed Doug Taylor. You also have another justice court case involving additional charges, it looks like, relating to drug paraphernalia. That one's also going to be set for a hearing on October 16th, 2024, and that's going to be at 9 o'clock as well. That case, I'm also going to release you on your promise to appear. You're not to possess or consume any illegal drugs. And Doug Taylor will also be appointed to represent you on that case. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All
Yes.
All right, so that is all for this evening. Your excuse, sir.
You see this?
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Lisa Zenas.
All right, ma'am, it looks like you were here this evening for charges out of Tucson City Court relating to criminal trespass and drug paraphernalia. Ma'am, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I've had a chance to review the citation and probable cause statement. Ma'am, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. You are not to possess or consume any alcoholic beverages. You are not to return to the incident location. And I will be giving you a court date of November 1st at 2 in the afternoon, and that will be at Tucson City Court. You will get paperwork that has the address for the court and information. Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Okay.
Rio, Mendoza.
Good evening, sir. Just give me 1 second to review your paperwork. All right, sir. So you are here this evening for a few different matters. Some of them are out of Tucson City Court, and some of them are out of Pima County Justice Court. We're going to go ahead and start with your Tucson City Court matters first. It looks like you have 6 cases pending out of Tucson City Court for charges relating to theft, shoplifting, criminal trespass, assault, disorderly conduct, and possession of drug paraphernalia. It looks like there are also some failure to appear charges as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you on the city court matters. And sir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a number of additional rights that you have. I am going to enter pleas of not guilty for you in the charges, in any new charges that are pending against you. You do have, I previously mentioned that you do have the right to remain silent. You do have the right to have an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. You do have the right to proceed to a trial. You do have the right to be present at any and all proceedings. If you fail to appear, those proceedings can go without you and a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand, sir?
Understood.
And if you are convicted and if you fail to appear for sentencing, then you may also wind up losing your right to appeal any conviction by failing to appear. Do you understand?
I understand. Loud and clear.
All right, sir. So I am going to hold you on a $1,000 cash or secured bond. If you post bond, you are not to possess or consume any alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. You are not to have any contact with any victims listed in any of your city court cases. You're not to return to any incident locations in any of those cases. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, and your next court date, if you are not able to bond out of custody, you will have a video review hearing on October 11th, 2024 at 1:45 in the afternoon. If you are able to bond out of custody, your hearing will be November 4th, 2024 at 9 in the morning. Again, you will get paperwork with all this information. So those are your city court matters. Now we're going to look, it looks like you have 2 matters out of Pima County Justice Court. You have a shoplifting that's pending in front of Judge Pesqueta. I'm going to go ahead and hold you on the $1,000 bond, cash or secured in that as well. Your next court date in that matter will be October 3rd at 1 p.m. and that hearing will be in front of Judge Steele. If you are able to post bond, you're not to return to the incident location. I am going to go ahead and appoint a contract attorney to represent you. And that will be Mr. William Parvin, and your paperwork will include his information. And again, your court date for that shoplifting case is going to be tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon. And then you have another justice court case. It looks like it's also assigned to Judge Pesqueta, and that involves charges relating to criminal trespass. You're going to be held on the same bond, the $1,000. Your next court date will also be 10/3, so tomorrow at 1 p.m., and that will be in front of Judge Steele. And I'm going to appoint Mr. William Parvin to represent you on that case as well. Now, in both of your justice court cases, you're not to return to any incident locations, and you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I understood.
All right, sir, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Stevens, that's.
Plead guilty to the charges in this case.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Good evening, sir. Can I get your full name?
So Seth Ashton Stevens.
All right, sir. So we're seeing you this evening, and we're going to basically be determining your next court date and any release conditions. I do note that I have received the recommendation from the county attorney's office. It looks like they're requesting a $5,000 bond. Mr. Poston, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, Your Honor, the 5,000 is only in light of the federal hold currently on this defendant.
All right, Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. He's lived in Tucson for 2 years and has ties to the community. He does have this other hold. I'd ask the court to set the bond at $2,500.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and hold you on a $2,500 bond, sir. That will be cash or secured. If you are released, you will be supervised by pretrial services. You're not to possess any alcohol or illegal drugs. And there will be some information included in your paperwork. You will need to schedule an appointment within 2 working days, Ms. Kelly. If you could just advise him as to the nature of that appointment. And your next court date, sir, you're going to have a preliminary hearing set for October 14th.
Yes.
And that will be at 1:30 in the afternoon. And I will be appointing the legal defender's office to represent you. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Your Honor, if you can waive reading of the charges in this case as well. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Good evening, sir. Could you introduce yourself, or could you give me your name, please?
Adam Kane Ziegler.
All right, sir. So we're seeing you this evening relating to some felony charges. What we're going to do tonight is we're basically going to be determining release conditions and setting your next court date. I will advise you that you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you. They do have a representative there, Ms. Kelly, if you have any questions for tonight's proceedings. Now, I have received the state's recommendation. Mr. Poston, did you wish to add anything to your recommendation? I see that you're requesting a $500,000 bond.
Your Honor, given the nature, volume, and general character of these allegations, this person is an absolute ultimate flight risk and a risk to the community, $500,000.
Understood. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. He has no prior felony convictions. He's a 1 on the FTA and the NCA scale. He's lived in Tucson for 12 years and has ties to the community. He's currently employed. Pretrial services was able to verify that his mother could take third-party custody of him and provide housing and transportation to court. I'd ask you to set the bond at $100,000.
I do note the lack of history, but I do also note the seriousness of the charges. I'm going to hold you, sir, on a $200,000 cash or secured bond. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing in this matter for October 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Now that date may change. So if you are released from custody, just make sure you stay in contact with your defense attorney. I'm also going to order that you be supervised by pretrial services if you're released. The reason I say stay in contact with them is if the date changes, they can let you know so you don't miss any court dates. I am going to order that you're not to have any contact with any of the alleged victims or any minors. I'm going to order that you not possess any firearms or weapons, not possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs, not return to the incident location. And as I mentioned before, I am appointing the public defender's office to represent you. So that's all for this evening, sir. You're excused. Good evening, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Mitchell D. Hessel. Drew Hessel.
All right, sir, you are here for an initial appearance on charges, felony charges relating to aggravated harassment. Sir, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. What I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. Kelly is a member of that office. She's there next to you and can assist you with any questions tonight if you have them.
Okay.
So what we're going to do now is basically we're looking at setting your next court date and determining release conditions. I have had a chance to review the state's recommendation. I note that the state is requesting a $15,000 bond. Mr. Poston, did you wish to be heard further?
Your Honor, he's a 5 out of 5. He has violated allegedly an active order of protection multiple times, amongst other dates, 9/15 and 9/17, all at the same victim's residence. This is an individual who doesn't seem to understand that he cannot do this. 15,000.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. He's lived in Tucson for 33 years and has ties to the community. He currently has a stable housing situation. And I would note that his last felony conviction is from 1982. So this is someone who stayed out of trouble for almost 40 years. I'd ask the court to set the bond at $3,000.
Jail, can you confirm whether he is on bond out of a couple of city court matters?
Checking, Your Honor. Your Honor,
Yes?
go ahead. Your Honor, it looks like his last record that we have here was from 1993.
All right,
Or you don't have any bond out from city.
understood. Thank you. Apologies, I just had to restart my pretrial access. It decided to have a seizure. All right, sir, I am going to hold you on a $5,000 bond. That will be cash or secured. I am concerned, based on the nature of the allegations, the fact that there are a couple priors and it looks like it involves similar conduct. What I'm going to order, sir, is that if you're able to post bond in this matter, you are not to possess any firearms or weapons. You're not to have any contact with the alleged victim. You're not to return to the incident location or have any contact with the victim's residence. You are to abide by any active civil orders of protection. You are also to abide by any other conditions of release that may be set or have been set in your other cases. Your next court date on this case will be October 14th at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, if you're able to post bond, you need to make sure that you stay in contact with your attorney. I'm also ordering that you be supervised by pretrial services if you're released. So stay in contact with them as well, because that date may change and they can let you know if it does. And then it looks like you also have 2 cases out of Tucson City Court. I'm going to note that I'm going to put on the paperwork for them that you are being held in your felony matter. So you're,
So.
so, sorry, sir. Let me go ahead and finish on your city court matters. So it looks like in your 2 city court matters, you're looking at charges relating to interference with judicial proceedings, disorderly conduct, threats, and intimidation. And what I'm going to do, sir, is I'm going to enter not guilties on your behalf. And I'm going to advise, I've previously told you that you do have the right to remain silent and that anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney in your city court matters. However, that may or may not be at court expense. However, what I am going to do is I am going to appoint the city public defenders to represent you on your city court matters. You also have the right to a trial. You have the right to be present at any and all proceedings. However, if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest, and those proceedings can proceed without you. That includes if you are convicted If you fail to appear at the time of sentencing, that may also result in you waiving any appellate rights that you may have. Now, what I'm going to do on your city court matters is I'm going to hold you on a $250 cash or secured bond. I am going to set a court date for you, and that's going to be October 11th, 2024 at 1:45 in the afternoon. If for some reason you're able to post bond and are released from custody, you will also have a court date, or instead of, you will have a court date on November 1st, 2024 at 9:30 in the morning. You will get paperwork that has all of this information. And additionally, on your city court matters, you are not to possess any firearms or weapons. You're not to possess or consume any alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. You're not to have any contact with any alleged victims or the victim's residence or the incident locations. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, sir. So that's all for this evening. You're excused.
I'm gonna talk to some.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Antoine Clark.
All right, sir. So it looks like you have a number of cases this evening. We're going to start with, it looks like you have a new looks like you have a couple of cases pending out of Pima County Superior Court. And then your other cases are out of Tucson City Court. So one of your Superior Court, your felony cases, it looks like it is a narcotic drug violation. Sir, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. Ms. Kelly works for that office, and she is there seated next to you if you have any questions for this hearing. What we're doing this evening is we are determining your release conditions and your next court dates. Now, I will also note, while we're talking about your Superior Court cases, that you also have new charges relating to basically prohibited possession of a firearm. And in that particular case, we'll start with the firearm case. It looks like the state is recommending that you be held no bond. Mr. Poston, did you wish to be heard any further regarding your recommendation?
Your Honor, in the first case, we have possession of a narcotic drug alleged on or about 7/20/2024, still open. And then on 9/20/2024, while he was still on release for the narcotic drug, picked up the possession of weapons, deadly weapon by a prohibited possessor. As he was on release and committed the second crime, the state is invoking the no bond rule.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor, it appears there is a legal basis to hold him no bond, but I would ask that a no bond hearing be set.
All right. So what I'm going to do in your firearms case, sir, is I am going to hold you without bond. I'm going to schedule a no bond hearing for October 7th, 2024 at 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm also going to set a preliminary hearing for October 14th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. Once again, the Public Defender's Office is going to be appointed to represent you. And I will also just note in your paperwork that you have other cases pending in city court and in justice court. And then in your narcotics case, counsel, my intent was to impose a bond to basically make sure he's earning credit on that narcotics case. Do either of you wish to be heard on the amount?
No objection. No, state defers to the court's discretion.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes, Your Honor, based on the fact that it appears to be a personal use drug matter, I would ask that the bond on that warrant be $500.
All right, sir. So in your narcotics case, I'm also going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. I'm going to hold you on a $1,500 cash or secured bond. If you are released, you will be supervised by pretrial services. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. And in this particular case, it looks like you have an arraignment that is set for October 9th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. And you will get paperwork on that case as well. And then, sir, it looks like you have seven cases pending out of Tucson City Court involving various charges relating to paraphernalia, possession, disorderly conduct, theft and or shoplifting. It looks like there's also some failure to appears. Now, sir, previously I told you that you had the right to remain silent. I am also going to advise you that you do have some additional rights. You do have the right to have an attorney. And what I will do in these cases is I will appoint the city public defenders to represent you. You do have the right to be present at any and all court proceedings. However, if you fail to appear, a warrant can issue for your arrest and those proceedings can go forward without you. That includes the time at sentencing. If you are convicted and a sentencing hearing is set, if you fail to appear for that, you could wind up waiving your any rights you might have to appeal. And what I'm going to do in these cases is I am going to hold you on a $100 bond. I'm going to order that if you are released, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. You are not to have any contact with any alleged victims. And you're not to return to any incident locations. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
If you are if you are able to post bond, your next court date in your city court matters will be November 5th, 2024 at 9 in the morning. However, if you are in custody, what we'll do is we'll set a video review hearing, and that will be October 11th, 2024 at 1:45 in the afternoon. And that will be in front of Judge Cerrillo at City Court. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, sir, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Don't forget your board. This is for you.
Fergoso.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Miguel Fragoso.
All right, sir, you are here for your initial appearance on some felony charges relating to allegations of narcotic drug possession, dangerous drug possession, and possession of drug paraphernalia. You do have a right, sir, to have an attorney. I am going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. Kelly works with that office and she's seated next to you in case you need any assistance during this hearing. I will also advise you that you have the right to remain silent and anything you say can and will be used against you. What we're doing this evening is we're looking at your next court dates and we're also deciding release conditions. So, Mr. Poston, I do see your recommendation. It looks like you were recommending a $1,500 bond, and you also indicated that he was smart court eligible. Did you have anything else you wish to add?
No, Your Honor, other than the recommendation is what it is, notwithstanding the extensive record of convictions in DOC time.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson. He currently has a stable housing situation, and these are personal use drug allegations. I'd ask the court to release him to pretrial services.
All right, sir, I am concerned about your history, and it looks like there have been some prior revocations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold you on a $1,500 cash or secured bond. If you are released, you will be supervised by pretrial services. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. And your next court date is going to be a preliminary hearing. And that's going to be set on October 14th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. Sir, if you're released, I recommend that you stay in contact with pretrial services and with your attorney because that court date may change and they can let you know if it does. Do you have any questions, sir?
No.
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Sure.
Let's sit outside for those. So go up. Go.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your full name?
Rocky Joseph Garcia.
All right, sir. So you are here this evening for an initial appearance relating to domestic violence charges involving allegations of aggravated assault, strangulation, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon or dangerous instrument. Sir, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. What I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Ms. Kelly is a member of that office and she's seated next to you in case you have any questions during tonight's hearing. What we're going to do, sir, is we're going to talk about your next court dates and we're going to determine release conditions. I have read the probable cause statement. I have also seen the recommendation from the county attorney's office. The county attorney is recommending a $100,000 bond. Did you wish to be heard further?
Yes, Your Honor. The allegations here are absolutely terrifying. This individual is alleged to have beaten a partner to within an inch of her life. Bruised throat, damaged lung, gash under the eye, bruised forehead, bruised chin, scratched knee. It's been alleged that he strangled her with a padlock and on a chain, crushed her in a bear hug, head-butted her, and we're a solid $100,000 on this one, Your Honor. This person is an imminent and ongoing threat. The Form 4C is solid high risk. Plus, we have the established science about the increased level of lethality when there's previous instances of strangulation. Your Honor, the state fears for the victim's life if this person is not held on at least $100,000.
Understood. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. He's a lifelong resident of Tucson with ties to the community. He's previously been connected with Cornerstone Behavioral Health and can receive services through them. I'd ask that the court set the bond at $50,000.
All right, I am concerned by the information that was presented in the interim complaint, and I understand that they are allegations at this point. I am also concerned by the prior domestic violence history. Sir, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to hold you on a $200,000 cash or secured bond. If you post that bond, you will be supervised by pretrial services. If you post that bond, you are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. You are not to commit any acts of domestic violence. Now, whether or not you are in or out of custody, you are not to have any contact with the victim in this case. No contact, sir, means no contact. I cannot stress that enough. That means any and all forms of contact. It means in-person, text, cell phone, third-party, social media app, whichever one is the rave these days. You cannot have contact with her. You can also not return to the incident location. In case I didn't mention it previously, I am appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to set this matter for a preliminary hearing on October 14th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. And sir, if you are able to post bond, you need to make sure that you stay in contact with your attorney and with pretrial services because that date may change. And if it changes, a warrant could issue, hearings may go forward in your absence. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all for this evening. You're excused.
It is. Good night, Judge, Your Honor.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Yeah, my name is Marcel X Hernandez Trujillo.
All right, sir. So it looks like you're here for an initial appearance on possession of a narcotic drug and possession of drug paraphernalia. Sir, you do have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney. I'm going to appoint Henry Jacobs to represent you. You will get paperwork that includes his information. However, for this evening's hearing, Ms. Kelly is seated next to you. She's with the Public Defender's Office and can answer any questions you might have. I see that the county attorney's office has recommended that you be released to pretrial services. It looks like you may also be eligible for smart court. Mr. Poston, did you wish to be heard further?
One moment, Your Honor. I just want to see what I have here. Your Honor, this was based, well, the quantity or weight, if you will, was greater than we normally see. After consulting with colleagues, the state made the decision, the very possibly risky decision, to allow him pretrial and smart court.
Understood. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, we agree with the release to pretrial services. I was wondering, is the transition center open late at night? Would he be able to go to the transition center when he's released?
In jail, do you know?
I'm not too sure, Your Honor.
I'm not certain. They may not be open this late. However, I do know that they open, I believe, at 8 or 9 in the morning is what I've heard. But there might be somebody at the jail that does have that information. So,
And Your Honor, he does have housing with his mother. He just wants to get set up with treatment as soon as possible, but it sounds like he'll be able to do that through SMAC court.
understood. So, sir, what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to release you to pretrial supervision. You are not to possess or consume alcohol or illegal drugs. You are to comply with any monitoring or treatment that pretrial services directs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set your next court date. It will be a preliminary hearing, and that will be October 22nd, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. That date might change, so make sure you stay in contact with Mr. Jacobs and with pretrial services so that if it does change, you don't miss it. All right. So do you have any questions, sir?
No, I appreciate your time and help. Thank you so much. You have a great night. And God bless.
So 1 second, sir. You also have a city court case, so we're going to take a look at that one now. And in that case, that case, it looks like you were charged with criminal trespass and also resisting arrest. So what I'm going to do in that case, sir, is I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. So I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. However, before I do that, sir, I'm going to let you know about some other rights that you have. I told you a moment ago that you had the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. Additionally, you have the right to be present at any and all court proceedings. However, if you fail to appear, those can go forward without you and a warrant can issue. Now, if you were to be convicted in a sentencing hearing set, if you fail to appear for sentencing, in addition to a warrant being issued, you might also lose any appellate rights you might have. So it's really important you make all of your court dates. I'm going to go ahead and enter not guilties on your behalf on these charges. And your next court date in your city court matter is going to be November 4th, 2024 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And that's going to be with Judge Maldonado over at Tucson City Court. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You are also not to return to the incident location. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, sir. So that's all in your city court case, and you're excused.
Thank you so
Here, Carlos.
Jail staff?
Yes, Your Honor.
I just realized that somebody we saw previously, it looks like it's Mr. Garcia. It looks like he also has a city court case that we just need to address.
Rocky Garcia.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mejia, good.
All right, Mr. Garcia. You also have a Tucson City Court case. And it looks like in that case, you're also facing allegations of domestic violence, assault, criminal damage, disorderly conduct, and interference with telephonic communications. What I'm going to do on that case, sir, is I'm going to hold you on a $1,500 bond that will be cashed or secured. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you. In that case as well, you're not to commit any other acts of domestic violence. You're not to possess or consume any alcoholic beverages, possess no weapons or firearms. You are not to have any contact at all with the alleged victim, the victim's residence, the incident location. And sir, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to set you for a court hearing on October 9th at 1:30 in the afternoon. And you will get paperwork with this court date as well. And that court hearing will be held in front of Judge Million over at Tucson City Court. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Is that it?
1 second, sir. Let me just finish your paperwork. That's all, sir. You're excused.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carlos.
All right, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Carlos Arturo Mejia.
All right, Mr. Mejia, it looks like you're here this evening for an initial appearance on charges relating to aggravated domestic violence and aggravated harassment.
I didn't do anything, ma'am.
And sir, what I'm going to tell you right now is you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you. You also have a right to an attorney. And there's a representative from the public defender's office, Miss Kelly. seated next to you if you have any questions during this hearing. What I'm going to do is I am going to appoint the legal advocate's office to represent you, and I'll make sure that you have paperwork with their information. So what we're going to do this evening is we're going to talk about your next court date. We're also going to talk about release conditions. I have read the probable cause statement. I have also seen the county attorney's recommendation. Mr. Poston, I note that you're asking for a $100,000 bond. Did you have anything else you wish to add?
Yes, Your Honor. First off, I did the math. This individual has spent upwards of 80 months in jail or DOC for domestic violence in the past 3 decades. Most recently with this victim, we have a MISTO DV DOC in May of 2023, followed by a AG DV in 2024, specifically, looks like 9 days ago. And I can only assume he was out and about because of time served. But after there was an OP issued and 9 days after he pled out, the victim encountered this person at the Social Security office allegedly, and allegedly impeded the victim from entering the building and followed her in, sitting next to her. Your Honor, this victim has every reason to be absolutely terrified of this person. We have a felony conviction. He's a yes for new violent crime flags, 2 active OPs, and again, wasn't even done with his previous case for a week until there was yet another encounter.
Thank you, Mr. Poston. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, he's a lifelong resident of Tucson with ties to the community. He is connected with COPE for behavioral health services. I don't believe there was an allegation of physical injury to the victim. I'd ask the court to set the bond at $15,000.
All right, I'm going to set bond in this matter at $25,000 cash or secured. Sir, if you are released from custody, you are going to be supervised by pretrial services and you have to comply with any conditions they may put in place. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to commit any acts of domestic violence, no firearms or weapons. You are not to have any contact whatsoever in any way, shape, or form with the victim in this case. If there are any active orders of protection, you need to abide by the terms and conditions of those as well.
Your
And
Honor, I did.
1 second, the case, I recommend that you talk to Ms. Kelly first, because again, you do have a right to remain silent, and I'm not trying to be rude. I just don't want you to say anything that can be used against you. Do you understand? All right, sir. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set your next court date, and that is going to be October 14th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. And make sure that you stay in contact with your attorney and with pretrial services so that you get word if that date changes. That's all for this evening, sir. You're excused.
So what does that mean? Am I?
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
on the next one, state's going to make a modification to its recommendation.
Understood. Thank you for the heads up. Good evening, ma'am. Can I get your full name, please? All right, ma'am. So you are here this evening for an initial appearance, it looks like on charges relating to the possession of narcotic drugs and drug paraphernalia. Ma'am, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to have an attorney. What I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint the public defender's office Ms. Kelly is there seated next to you. She works with that office and can assist you with this evening's hearing. So what we're doing this evening is we're talking about your next court dates, and we're also talking about release conditions. So I have seen the previous recommendations from the county attorney's office. Mr. Poston, you indicated you wish to make a modification.
Yes, Your Honor, upon further review and consultation with the colleague, state notes that this is likely somebody with a substance abuse disorder, no other indicia of any other criminality. State's going to recommend SMART, TORT, and PTS.
Understood. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
Your Honor, we're in agreement with that recommendation.
All right, so counsel, is this one of those situations, and you'll have to educate me on this, do we set a SMART court hearing, or is that only if there are also steps?
I believe we still set a hearing.
But is it the SMART court or is it the PH?
I guess I would defer to the state.
I believe it's just at the SMART hearing and she has an order to appear. And she'll have to contact pretrial, who I'm sure is well versed in filling in the blanks for folks just out of release.
Bear with me, I'm just making some changes here. All right, defense counsel, are you willing to waive time for a preliminary hearing?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you to pretrial services. You are to not possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're going to abide by any conditions that pretrial services may put in place. I'm going to set a couple of hearing dates. So I'm going to set a SMART court hearing date on October 9th, 2024, and that will be at 9 o'clock in the morning. For SMART? Mm-hmm. Oh, for the SMART hearing as well, or just for the PH? Okay. So you're also going to have a preliminary hearing date, and that's going to be November 18th, 2024 at 1:30. So what you need to do, ma'am, SMART Court is a way, if you're willing, for you to engage in treatment. It's monitored by some of the judges over at Pima County Superior Court. And if you comply with the program, then it could result in your charges either not being filed or being dismissed. Are you interested in looking at this treatment option? Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna get paperwork with those dates, and you need to make sure that you make those court dates. Do you understand? Okay, so once again, I'm gonna make sure that the public defender's office is appointed to represent you, and you'll get the paperwork with those dates. Do you have any questions, ma'am? Is that a yes or no?
No questions.
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Your Honor, did she have a pending Nogales matter?
Let me.
Yes, that was noted. She does have a case out of Nogales.
I don't know if we're dealing with that today. I just saw it.
Do we have any information on that, Alma, the Nogales? 1 second, we're double checking.
It would appear she's on release from the Nogales case, but the state exercised some discretion in its recommendation.
It's Soroka. She may already be on release on that date, in that case.
She is.
So it looks like, ma'am, you do have another case pending out of Nogales. So you want to make sure that you get in contact with that court. The only information I have on that one, and you're not being held on that case, so we're not going to talk about release conditions, but you have a court date on that case on October 21st, 2024. I don't have information as to the time. So if you have an attorney in that matter, you need to make sure you get in contact with them. at the very least, contact the court and get that information. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Thank you. Jason?
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name, please?
Hi, I'm Jason Sturzik.
All right, sir. So we have you on a couple of different matters. It looks like you have some charges out of Pima County Superior Court involving narcotic drug possession. Sir, you do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. Sir, I will also note that I'm going to set this matter for an arraignment hearing, and that arraignment hearing is going to be October 9th, 2024 at 1:30 in the afternoon. So I have looked at the recommendation provided by the county attorneys. It looks like they're recommending pretrial services release. Does either counsel wish to be heard further?
Judge, the only thing I'm going to say is, having read the reports, the state's made the decision it made based on allegations that said when the officer made contact, the defendant allegedly said something to the effect of, "I don't want to cause you any problems, officer. I am an addict." State appreciates his candor, hence the hope that he can seek treatment in smart court.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Kelly, did you wish to be heard?
No.
All right, sir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you to the supervision of pretrial services. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to possess any firearms or weapons. And any conditions that pretrial services puts in place, you're going to have to abide by those. Do you understand, sir?
I understand.
All right, so you also have some Tucson City Court matters. It looks like these cases involve basically a parks violation, but also possession of drug paraphernalia. Sir, what I'm going to do in these cases is I am going to release you on your promise to appear. I'm also going to enter not guilties on your behalf. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. You're not to return to the incident locations in these various cases. And your next court date will be November 4th, 2024 at 2 p.m, and that will be with Judge Verena. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, I understand.
All right, sir, that's all for this evening. You're excused.
Thank you.
Christopher.
Good evening, sir. Can I get your name?
Whispering,
Your full name, sir?
whispering room. Sing.
All right, sir. So you're here this evening for an initial appearance on charges relating to the possession of narcotics and possession of drug paraphernalia. I will note that you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, and I will appoint the legal defender's office to represent you. And for this evening's hearing, Ms. Kelly is seated next to you. She's with the public defender's office and can answer any questions you might have. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to look at your next court dates, and we're also going to look at release conditions. And I also note that you have You have some charges pending out of Tucson City Court, and we'll handle those in a moment. So with regards to your drug charges, the felony ones, I have read the state's recommendation. I note that they are recommending pretrial services release. Did either counsel wish to be heard further on that?
No, Your Honor, state submits on its written record.
No.
All right, sir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release you to pretrial services. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol or illegal drugs, and you're to comply with any directives that pretrial services gives you. You're also not to possess any firearms or weapons. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to talk about your Tucson, oops, 1 second, I have to give you a court date. So your, what's the? So your next court date in that case will be October 22 at 1:30 in the afternoon. So stay in touch with your attorney and with pretrial services so that they can let you know if that date changes. And then, sir, you also have a case out of Tucson City Court involving charges of assault, disorderly conduct, and shoplifting. And sir, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you know about some additional rights that you have in that case, in all cases, but in this one particular, you do again have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You also have the right to an attorney, although not necessarily at court expense. You do have a right to be present at any and all court proceedings. However, if you're not present for court, a warrant could issue for your arrest and that court hearing could go forward without you. That includes if you are convicted and a sentencing hearing is set. If you fail to appear at sentencing, you may also lose your appellate rights. Do you understand those rights, sir? Mr. Quinn, I need a verbal answer, sir. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, sir. So what we're going to do. Might have slipped out. Or maybe I slipped out. It was in that one. All right, sir. So what we're going to do in your city court matters is I'm going to set a court hearing for November 1st at 2 in the afternoon. You will get paperwork with this information. That's going to be at Tucson City Court with Judge Mayhew. I'm going to release you on your promise to appear. You are not to possess or consume any alcohol, to possess any firearms or weapons. You're not to have any contact with any alleged victims and not return to any incident locations. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, and once again, that court date is going to be 11/1 in the afternoon, and you'll get paperwork with all that information. That's all for this evening, sir. You're excused.
Court dates.
You go to the second. You go to cell number 5.
And do we have any more at the jail? I show one more person on the release, or the list, but it says post-release.
That's all of them, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.